Hello and welcome back to my channel. I say this with love 33. Have you been feeling or ever had the feeling like you have so much stuff inside that you don't feel good about, but you don't know what it is or why you feel that way? Today, I want to ask you a question. What do you have packed in your suitcase? Let's find out. I want to use this visual representation as a source of understanding because I experienced this before, and this opened my eyes so much that I was able to actually feel and understand what it was this whole goal was trying to get at. So let's do this. What's inside your suitcase? Let's see. In life, every day, we have feelings, we have emotions. As time goes by, we get older, life gets hard, things happen, sadness comes, happiness comes, experiences come, and we either deal with them or we don't. In my case, in my own space, I never allowed myself to deal with anything. I didn't allow myself to feel. So, obviously, that gets pushed down. So, I had to unpack a lot out of my suitcase. So let's talk about this. Let's see what we got happening today. So in my suitcase, I have some feelings that I'm feeling. Number one, fear. You got fear packed in your suitcase? It's time to push into that. It's time to release fear. What are we afraid of? Fear is the unknown. If we don't know what to expect or how we're going to have control, then we become fearful. Fear can overplay and take over so many aspects of yourself. And I will just say, the majority of us live in fear. When you live in fear, you don't feel good. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to share this with you, and I do say this with love. If you're watching the news, if you're deep into your religious world, and listening to other people tell you what to do, how to live, that's fear-based. If you are listening to the radio and channels that tell you about the world from their perspective and all the negative things that's going on, that's fear-based. If you can detach from watching the news, listening to people that have an agenda, stepping away from cultures that tell you exactly how to live or you're going to hell, that's fear-based, okay? Unpacking fear brings a lightness and it feels amazing. How about guilt? You got guilt? Unpack that and throw that to the curb. Guilt is such a hard way to live. In my own personal world, I lived with guilt for 54 years. Like, I had guilt over, are people not happy enough? Am I not pleasing people enough? Did I say the wrong thing? I made a mistake back in 1973 and I feel so guilty about it. Like, oh, or I did the wrong thing, or I married the wrong person and now I have guilt. Like, all the guilt that we bottle up and put inside weighs heavy on us. And like the fear, guilt is gonna eat at us and it's not gonna feel good. So we gotta push into that guilt. Why do you feel guilty? What do you have to feel guilty about? Life is lessons. And if we can learn from those lessons and move on from learning that lesson, then you're good. Release that. It's okay. How about shame? Unpack that shame. No more shame for me. What do we have to be shameful of? Like, we came to this earth to experience life and learn and have peace and joy. And the majority of us live in shame. We are shameful of perhaps our culture. We are shameful of our family. We are shameful of our lack of perhaps monetary significance. We are shameful of our body. It's not good enough. It's not small enough. It's not big enough. It's not round enough. We are shameful of what thoughts are in our head. We have so much shame deeply embedded inside us, And that weighs so heavy and constricts our hearts. And when we can release the shame, again, it brings a lightness. Let's go on to anger. You got anger? Release that anger. What are you angry about? Are you angry that you don't have control of a situation? Are you angry that that boss is being an asshole? Are you angry that that person said something to you? Are you angry that the coffee pot didn't go off this morning? When you find yourself in moments of anger, stop and think, why am I so angry? Is it because that you don't have that control? That's all right. Take a deep breath. Release that. When you start to notice yourself get angry about things, stop and think, oh my gosh, why am I getting so angry about that? Am I taking something personal? Am I being defensive? Am I being a victim? Think about it. Think into it. Push into it. Release the anger and just let the flow of life and the universe take its course. And then you're going to feel lightness. I can guarantee that. What about resentment? Woo! Unpack resentment. Oh, in my own personal story, I lived with resentment and I didn't even know it. But over years, with the resentment of things that I pushed down and didn't allow myself to feel or talk about because I gave away the power of my voice, I built up resentment so high. And resentment is not a good feeling. It is a low vibration. And whoever you're resentful towards or whatever situation you're resentful in, like they don't even know it. Like it's just such a dead space to be at. But we as humans do feel resentment. So again, we got to push into that. Why do we feel resentful? It's because we feel small and we don't take up space and say how we're feeling. Maybe that's it. Awareness is key though. And when you can push into that resentment and release it, again comes lightness. What about bitterness? I was bitter. I was bitter about this. I was bitter about that. I was bitter that I'm doing everything for everybody and nobody's accepting it or being respectful to me. Okay, well, that sounds like victim mode. Bitterness is like resentment, to where you feel bitter because you might be outputting and expending more energy, which in return is like you're trying to control the situation by doing everything for everybody, and you become bitter. It doesn't feel good. Push into it. Think about it. Feel it. Release that bitterness. How about anxiety? Boy, I can say in the world, probably the majority of people have anxiety, especially the younger generation. Anxiety is so heavy, and anxiety just takes your mind and it's just going a million miles an hour. And when you can unpack that anxiety and push into it and think and feel, why am I anxious? It's going to have to do with control. It's going to have to do with guilt. It's going to have to do with fear. It's going to have to do with anger. It's going to have to do with resentment and bitterness and all the low vibrational energies that we have as humans. That anxiety is going to stay until you can push into it and release it. Okay, anxiety is a heavy piece of what's in our suitcase, and I hope that you can release that to feel lightness. What about depression? How many people are depressed, especially this time of the year? Christmas is coming, and this time of this year, the season brings up so much depression in people. Me in my own life, I have experienced people in my family that become depressed this year at every time. And it's energies and it's so much pressure, and our societal conditioning makes us, here in America, makes us believe that we have to do this, we have to spend this, we have to go, do, spend, outdo, like go up and above and beyond. And like it's just, the holiday season has become so stressful, and it puts people into a depression, where ultimately we can unpack that depression and get it out of our heart we're going to feel light. If we can come back and bring our awareness back to what in this season of Christmas, what does it mean? It's connection, it's love, it's spending time with your loved ones. It's not about going out and shopping and being the best and spending the most and outdoing this person, or people giving you gifts and you're like, "Pah, I don't even want that. That's just gonna go in the trash." Like, it has just gotten so out of hand. And on top of just the seasonal depression, all year people become depressed. And that's a very heavy space to be. And as we empty our suitcase of that energy, you're going to become lighter. Control, that's a big one. Sometimes we try to control situations that we're not even aware of. And in my own personal story, I'll share this with you. I always felt that I was the caretaker. I was the mom, the wife, that I ran the household and I needed to keep everybody happy. Essentially, the reason that I felt that and I needed to do that unconsciously, because it gives me control of the situation. And the more I could do for people and the more I could prevent them from feeling things or making their own mistakes or helping and holding up their own weight, gave me value. I felt that the more and the harder that I worked for everybody else gave me value as a human. So control was a space that I wasn't aware that I had, but I was controlling. I was controlling situations to kind of make people dependent upon me so that I can feel worthy. Holy shnikey, Batman. That's flippin' heavy. That's a lot. I spent most of my life doing that, feeling unworthy, feeling that my whole existence comes from how hard I can work. What can I give you? Like, I had no idea that I was stepping on people's toes and taking control of situations for the benefit of my own need to feel worthy because I didn't have love for myself. Oh, that's hurtful. And you know, I was able to unpack my suitcase and push into all these things, and so can you, and I guarantee it. Let's go on. What about grief? Grief is a hard one. Allowing yourself to grieve somebody, something, a situation, that weighs heavy. Some of us are not able to move beyond grief, especially if we lose a loved one. Grief weighs heavy into our heart. And when you can be aware of that and love yourself and allow yourself to grieve in the way that you need to grieve, it's not a cookie cutter case. Everybody doesn't grieve in the same way. Everybody doesn't require the same amount of time to grieve. In my own personal story, when I unexpectedly lost my dad, it was like somebody pulled the rug out from under my feet and I was just rock bottom. I was in such deep grief and my body felt things and I was just so distraught and unable to move forward. And if it wasn't for the fact that I had 2 young kids that I lived my life for, I probably wouldn't be standing here today doing this video. But as I read books and started to allow myself to tell myself it's okay to be sad, it's okay to miss somebody, it's okay to miss the time that you spent together, it's okay to feel sad that he's not going to be able to see your kids grow up and get married and do all the things that we here on earth do. But now I'm in a different space in my life and I know that he is here, he is present with me, and we will see him again one day. And to understand that grief is part of a process that we have to go through and there's stages of grief, allow yourself that time. Some people just jump back into work or jump into their old lifestyle, which they're never going to be, because once you experience deep grief, you're not the same person that you were prior to that grief. But allowing yourself to move forward and grow and unconditionally love yourself is going to help to unpack that grief, and you're going to be lighter. What about our final one, desire? Desire is a big one. And when we don't feel content and we desire this and we desire that, and we are always looking for an outward source of validation and accomplishment and confidence and feeling loved and feeling content, when you have desire to not be alone with yourself or content with yourself, that's heavy. And that is something that needs to be unpacked out of that suitcase. And you can be aware of that. Oh my gosh, like, do I desire not to be alone ever with myself? Think about it. Are you able to sit with yourself in silence, without your phone, without the TV, without the noise of this or that, or having company here? Can you just be by yourself in quietness and silence? That's a tough space. Most people can't. Most people need to be stimulated. Most people desire to have somebody else with them because then they don't have to feel their feelings or think their thoughts. Most people desire to be on their phone. Most people desire to just be busy. Let me just work my life away. Let me just do this. Let me do this for everybody. Like, desire to not be alone puts you in a space of, oh, well, let me do things that I know aren't really right or good for me, but I can't be by myself. So I desire to maybe go watch porn or call up somebody to come have a fun time with, or to go do some drugs, or to go drink too much, or to go gamble, or all the things that in our world that we mask so we don't have to feel. All these things in our suitcase are heavy. They are weighing us down. We have heaviness and things in our suitcase that we're not even aware of. Sure, you can see these things, and me visually showing you can represent that. And yeah, you feel fear, you feel guilt, you'll feel shame, you'll feel anger, resentment, all the things. But what about things that we are not even aware of? They are subconscious, deeply buried in our body at a cellular level. And I'm talking about generational trauma and things that happened generations back that keep being passed down through each generation unknowingly. I'm talking about your inner child and healing your inner child. That's a big one that most of us aren't aware of. Like, I didn't even know what an inner child was 3.5 years ago, prior to my awakening and my healing process. I didn't even really think about generational trauma. Yeah, I heard about it here or there, but I did not know how deep and the extent that it goes to. So if you have the baggage of generational trauma or an unhealed inner child, and you're not aware of, like, why do I keep making the same decisions? Or why do I repeat the same patterns? Why do I pick the same type of person that isn't good for me? Why do I have an addiction and I just can't get past it? Like, what is trapped inside my body that I am not able to release? And stop and think about it and really go deep inward and think, maybe this is beyond like fear, guilt, control, shame, bitterness, depression. Maybe it goes beyond that. Maybe you're feeling those things because of some deep shit that happened like 7 generations back. Maybe your inner child is so wounded and so hurt and looking for love and looking for the unconditional love and acceptance and acknowledgement of the hard time that you as a little boy or as a little girl experienced. We don't know about those things. We're not taught about that in schools or in church. Perhaps you can reach out to a counselor or a professional and say, hey, like, how do I heal my inner child? You can go on YouTube. Like, there's so much information and it goes so deep. And unpacking this suitcase can help you to feel lighter, to find peace, to find joy, to find love for yourself. Maybe you can feel this. And by watching this video and maybe rewatching it, and by maybe talking to friends or family about it, like I said, maybe a coach, maybe a professional. This is a spiritual space. And like I say everything with full truth, and everything that I have talked about today, I have experienced myself. I know this works. I know the baggage that is packed deep inside this suitcase. I lived with my suitcase packed so tight, like you couldn't even flip and close it for 54 years. And I didn't even know it. I knew I felt heavy. I knew I wasn't like feeling good. I knew I got to a space in my life where I'm just like, oh my gosh, like something's got to change. This isn't okay. And you know what? I was able to sit and push and feel and release. And now, like, the weight of the world is lifted off my shoulders. And my intention here in this channel is to help humanity feel and get to the space of the way I do, because I know it can be accomplished, to come back to your heart. Get out of your mind, get out of your social conditioning, get out of the conditioning of from your parents as you were a kid, the trauma from when you were a child, the religion you were brought up in, the societal norms, and all the stuff that's so heavily placed on us as children, and then as we grow, it just stays with us. But somewhere in our mind and our body and our soul, we're feeling like, ooh, I don't really like to do that, or that doesn't feel good, but that's what we have to do. So that's the way I was raised, so that's the way we got to do it. No, cut the cord, unpack that suitcase, get that crap out of your heart and your soul and your physical body. Get some movement, release those trapped energies, and you're going to feel so much better. So much. I promise you that. So I do say this with love. I know some of these things are harsh to hear and maybe even sound a little woo-woo, but this is truth. This is something that I have lived and experienced, and I pass it on to the rest of the world because I know there's people out there feeling like this. It's inevitable. Like, we are all humans. We are all one. We are all learning lessons. And I have learned a lot of devastating, life-altering, dark lessons. And we cannot get to the light and rise above unless we go through the darkness. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for visiting my channel. I ask that you hit the subscribe button, give a thumbs up if you like it. I do say this with love. Have a beautiful day.